Hey guys, this is Adam from the Dimensional Gamer Squad here, bringing you with another ranking video. This one will be my top 10 favourite fighting types with 3 honourable mentions. Like with every top 10, I have 3 honourable mentions. Today I'll be doing the fighting types, the fire types, and of course the flying types. Since all those types will begin with F, and I like to get all these type rankings out of the way so then I could go to other rankings and other stuff like Battle of the Beasts and all that. Anyway, let's get started. Before I get started, this is entirely my opinion. So if you have a different opinion on which Pokemon you think is the best fighting type, then please feel free to leave your opinion down in the comments below. I will read them. You can leave your top 10, top 5, or heck, maybe even top 3. Something else I need to say, but I can't remember, so let's just get right into this video. So, last place out of the honourable mentions is Chestnut. Right, I need to give credit where it's due. It's only here because I like its design. Well, over time I liked its design. And the fact that it did come in handy a few times when it came to the playthroughs I used with it in, which wasn't very many because Greninja's also available in X and Y, so you know that I went for that one mainly. If I was to say a positive thing about Chestnut, I say that it can take a hit, just not a flying type one. Not really much positives about this. So its design is okay. I liked it. I like its pre-evolutions, apart from the middle evolution. But it's just here because it just gets outclassed by all the other fighting types on this list. But I need to give credit where it's due. It's a starter and its design. That is why it's here. It's the fact it's a starter and its design. That's why it's here. 12th place is Pangoro. I don't even know why I put Pangoro here. I know I prefer it more than Chestnut. But apart from its design, there's nothing else good about it. Its moveset is decent, and my experience with it is worse than my experience with Chestnut. So, I don't know why I put Pangoro here, but whatever past me was saying. Okay, I know why I put 11th place here, because the fighting type here is absolutely adorable. And 11th place is Riolu. It is adorable. It was okay in the anime, even though it was owned by an absolute moron. But it became rather memorable to me. That and the fact that it was the first Pokemon I got that was hatched from an egg in Pokemon Pearl, Diamond, or Platinum. So that's why it's there. And the fact it evolved, it normally evolves when I catch it or hatch it very early on in the level up, so it doesn't really take long for me to wait for Lucario. More on him later. 10th place we have Kommo-o-o. I say Kommo-o-o, even though that does sound like it's pronounced wrong, but Kommo-o? Yeah. Kommo-o. Yeah, Kommo-o. There we are. Okay, now that I finally got that name out of the way, you know which one I'm talking about. The Pseudo Legendary of Gen 7. This one's there because this one's here because its design is absolutely amazing. I thought it was very unique. Its moveset is great, and the fact that it came in a lot of use with my Moon playthrough, it's just the icing on the cake. It wasn't the most useful, but it wasn't the worst. Although, when it has come to my teams I use to battle other people with, it hasn't proven to be the most useful. But on the few times, maybe 3 or 4 times I have used it, it did some damage, but not enough for me to be like, oh wow, I'm actually proud of this. 9th place we have Blaziken, and it's only here for the one reason, speed boost. If you have a regular Blaziken with the ability speed boost, and you have another Pokemon like a Mega Evolve there, you basically go like, okay then, I got 2 overpowered Pokemon, You don't even need to Mega Evolve the Blaziken, because Speed Boost will just take Mega Blaziken's ability, making it useful. If there's one negative about it, the fact that its design, in my opinion, isn't as good as another fire fighting type starter. And you know which one that is, because I already said multiple times I hate Emboar. Personal experience of Blaziken, I actually have not used it in any Hoenn playthrough, because I always use Sceptile. But if I'm talking about battles when I use it against other people, it has proven to be very useful. It took out a Darkrai once, and it won me a few battles against Reese and Brandon, and one against Lucas with the Darkrai. But other than that, it doesn't really stand out. It won some battles, but not enough for me to go like, oh, I will remember this now. 8th place is Gallade. Its type is probably the most unique out of all of them, because you have the best physical attacking type with the best special attacking type. And with that together, you're basically like, okay, I can use special type moves, I can use physical moves. I personally think it's better to use physical moves, since my Gallade normally have the Adamant nature, which boosts attack and lowers special attack. Or nature that boosts attack, but and that is just naturally higher. Gallade, I haven't used this a lot. I use Blaziken more. But on the few times I have used Gallade and gone against one, that Gallade has always done quite a bit of damage to my teams, causing me to either lose the battle or make this battle come ever so close to the end of the battle where I win, but just barely. Unfortunately, the person that uses the Gallade doesn't use it anymore, because he found a better Mega after I gave him the moveset for it. More on the story on that later in the list. 7th place, we have Scrafty, or Scrafty. I should really say Scrafty because of my accent, but I say Scrafty because I think it sounds more like crafty, which is another word for sly, and for hoodlums or thugs, they are very sly when it comes to how they attack people, deceitful and all that. So that's why I say Scrafty. A bit complicated, but it makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to you, I don't know what to tell you. But Scrafty, I think it's mainly here because of the dark and fighting type mono runs I did at Sun and Moon. It wasn't the most useful for fighting or dark by any means, but it was very useful. It had access to all the elemental punches and drain punch to add on that. Actually, my one had fire punch, ice punch, drain punch, and crunch. Wow, they all rhymed. Simply because I wanted stab, so crunch and drain punch, and I already had another Pokemon that had thunder punch. More on him later, and it really makes no sense why that one had thunder punch. But okay, I'm not gonna argue. But yeah, Scrafty. It did great in those mono runs, and in the teams I've used it with, it hasn't really done a lot to stand out. But to be fair, most of the fighting types on this list haven't done much to stand out. Fighting types to me are kind of like that rather bland type that I like, but doesn't do enough to make me go like, oh, I love this type, I just tolerate it. Fighting types are normally supported with this secondary type, which is normally, most of the time, better than the fighting types. But after 5th place, we actually get to the fighting types which have done quite a bit. But as of now, we're at 7th place, and we have Scrafty. I already said why Scrafty's here. It just hasn't done enough to stand out. It helps a lot in the mono runs, just hasn't been the strongest one there. And the battles where I've used it in, it normally gets one-shotted, or it does some damage, then loses without taking down a Pokemon. 6th place, we have Breloom. I have used this in my grass type mono run, I know that. And I think I used my fighting type mono, but I can't remember. But all I know is I named one Mushroom, and if I did use it, I named the other one Spore. But it hasn't really came in much use for that apart from the water type trial. Other times it came in handy, rarely. It rarely came in handy. I just like its design and its appearances in the anime. And its ability affects Spore. Get hit if you hit it with a physical move, you have a chance to either sleep, get paralyzed, or get poisoned, which is actually really useful. And it does have access to quite a good array of moves, but not as great as Scrafty. But Breloom, you're okay. You're actually one of the few good grass types. Which hold on, I need to actually check this now just to make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, it is one of the few good grass types. 5th place we have Toxicroak. This one was in my poison and fighting type. Man, why are there so many? Hold on. Scrafty, Breloom, Toxicroak. Okay, so all 6 of the Pokemon I in my fighting type mono run was actually in the fighting type mono. Also on this list. Scrafty is just my least favourite. Toxicroak's here because it has an access to quite a good array of moves, and it's the one that had Thunder Punch. There was also another one that had Thunder Punch, but I was in the flying type mono. So, Toxicroak, it was useful in the mono runs. Like it did take down Lusamune's Clefable, Liddigant, and also with the Thunder Punch, Milotic. It was also the one to take down Kukui's Decidueye, along with the Lycanroc. Braviary, it got beaten by, like most of the fighting types on that. But we'll get to later on in the list where I have a fighting type which actually took down that Braviary. Toxicroak. I think its most useful point was when it's going to get to grass type trial. But I can't remember if I actually used it, because there's another one which would make more sense if I used it. You know exactly which one it is when I get to it. But Toxicroak, in the battles that wasn't the mono run, it done some damage, but it never took down a Pokemon. I just like its design more than Breloom, which is why it's above Breloom and Scrafty. But Toxicroak, you did okay. You did okay, man. Okay, we're down to the last 4. And 3 of them were in the fighting type mono run. This one wasn't, though. This one was in the bug type mono. And that one is Heracross. And Heracross, as you could probably imagine, in the bug type mono, was probably one of the best ones. And it actually was. Oh wait, no. It was in the fighting type mono as well. Because I remember naming one Hercules and the other one Scarab. So, maybe Breloom was in the fighting type mono run though, because I know the other 3 were. I'm going to need to check on that later. But it doesn't really matter. All I know is I use all 7 of those Pokemon in the fighting type in a mono run. But I could have sworn Heracross was in just the bug, but no, I used it in fighting as well, because I remember giving it Scarab and Hercules as its name. Heracross, it was a powerhouse. It took down quite a lot of Pokemon in that mono run, and also in the battles that wasn't the mono run. It took down quite a lot of Pokemon, and with its Mega, which I don't use very often, it gives that extra oomph to it, where it's like, okay, now I'm ready to beat your ass. But I don't use its Mega because there's a better Mega fighting type coming up on this list. Obviously it's Blaziken. But Heracross still remains one of my favourite fighting types. Probably not my favourite bug type, but one of my favourite bug types as well. If there's anything else I could say about Heracross, probably its Mega was a bit of a disappointment, but I don't use its Mega very often. It's kind of like Garchomp's Mega, I don't use that either. Its signature move, Mega Horn, is... I've noticed that it's more useful on Heracross than other bug types. But that's probably just the fact that Heracross has gone against weaker Pokemon, but I don't know. Heracross is probably one of my favourite Pokemon on that team, but no, it's not. We have better Pokemon. I'm trying to think of other good experiences with Heracross. It won a few battles for me, but none significant enough to boost it up, but it did win battles. Its design is a bit basic compared to other fighting types coming up on this list, but it still remains as a classic good fighting type that brought the bug types out of the shadows of Gen 1 where they were terrible. Now they're just mediocre, but Heracross was the main bug type that brought them out of that. In third place we have Hawlucha. Now Hawlucha. This one or Heracross was either in the Fire-type mono run. I don't know which one it was, but maybe Breloom wasn't. I actually can't remember. But Hawlucha, I remember, I normally don't give an item in any battle I use it in because it has the move Acrobatics, which boosts its power if the user's not holding an item. Hence why I don't give it one. Then its other moves: Thunder Punch, Drain Punch as well, and Roost or U-Turn. I either give it U-Turn to just give a quick and easy swap out. That's what I normally do with the mono runs. Every now and then other battles. But I know I have at least one Hawlucha which has Roost, because I don't want to always have the same moveset. But Hawlucha's design is amazing. I like it's based off a luchador wrestler. And if there's anything else I can think of, please come up now. Its speed is amazing, its stats are great, and it's probably one of the few good Pokemon from Gen 6. More on that list later on in this ranking series, because I know I'm after these types, I'm going to be doing top 10 Pokemon from each generation, and if I can see where Hawlucha is, yeah, it's one of the few good Pokemon. I did see something on the Gen 4 part which I'm now a bit disagreeing with, so I'll be editing that after this video. After the flying type one I meant, but whatever. More on that later. Okay, in second place we have the first Pokemon I've ever owned. I'll be talking about this one in the fire type one as well. The better fire fighting type, Infernape. Isn't really any question about it. Infernape's obviously better than Blaziken. Sorry, this is my opinion, but my opinion to me is right, and to lots of other people it's also right. I know to Lucas it's right. His favourite fighting type, I think. Yeah, Dark as Umbreon, fighting as Pangoro. Yeah, his favourite fire type is Infernape. So Infernape is the better fire fighting type. Its design is amazing. The fact it's my first Pokemon kind of adds a bit of nostalgia to me. And its arc in the anime. There's nothing negative about that arc. Like, it's literally, oh, you're weak, so this douchebag releases you. Get trained by Ash. Beat the douchebag. I like it. It's a great, kind of like a comeback story. The underdog kind of thing. And Infernape, in my opinion, with the exception of a few Pokemon, come to be one of the strongest Pokemon that Ash has ever owned. And then the one I used, I know this was in my fighting type mono run, probably fire as well. Because I think I used Blaziken in the fire type one. Okay, fighting had Infernape in, I know that. Don't ask why I used Blaziken in the fire type one. I needed speed boost, so Infernape. This one had Thunder Punch. This one was the one that had Thunder Punch along with Hawlucha. But I think with Hawlucha, I didn't give it Thunder Punch for that playthrough simply because I didn't want to have repeat types when I know a Pokemon which isn't weak to. Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have gave Thunder Punch to Hawlucha because electric beats water. Oh god. Okay, I won the battle though. This one was the one that took down the Braviary. Luckily outsped and survived a Brave Bird, but fun. But But even though it survived that, it took a lot of hits in the battles I use it in. It always does a lot of damage and takes down at least 2 Pokemon before it goes down. Remains one of the best Pokemon that I've ever owned, and really makes me proud to say, hey, I'm so glad I chose that starter in Diamond and Pearl. And now we're on to number 1. Now this goes without saying, I know this was my favourite fighting type. I know this is my favourite fighting type in that video I did with Reese. I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. I hate that video. But my opinion still hasn't changed. Lucario is number 1. So clearly Gen 4 is the better fighting types here, with the top 5 having 3 Gen 4s and the top 10 having 5. Wow, that is poor maths. Okay, top 5 having 3, top 10 having 4. All 13 of the Pokemon I mentioned, 5, technically 4. But Lucario is number 1 and remains to be number 1. This one, okay, Lucario, going against it or battling alongside it, you're guaranteed basically to take down at least 2 Pokemon, with or without its Mega. This is one of the few Pokemon which look better when they Mega Evolve, get stronger when they Mega Evolve, and actually proves to be stronger. Lucario's ability when it Mega Evolves is adaptability, which boosts Steel type moves and Fighting type moves, or basically moves which is of the same type as Lucario, that being Fighting and Steel. And to go along with that, that's not already broken as it is. Its special attack and attack increases to the sky. Well, basically the sky's the limit. Make sure you have a Pokemon before you send it out with Sticky Web, and you're basically like, okay, you're dead. And there's so many other things you can do. Not to mention, Lucario may not be the most defensive Pokemon, but with its typing being Steel, has access to 10 resistances. That may have gone down with its Fighting type adding on. Well, I know it did, because Flying is one of Steel's resistances and Fighting is weak to Flying. But other than that, it still has a lot of resistances where, in some cases, I know this happened to me a few times going against Reese's Lucario, I've been left to 1 Pokemon left where I have 1 status move and 3 attacking moves, all not very effective. It goes without saying I lost that battle. But that still doesn't change the fact that I still love Lucario. It just proves, hey, this thing can be a monster. And every time I go against one or use one, it does a lot of damage. Like, normally I send down Infernape before it. It does some damage, goes down, Lucario goes in, finishes it off. There's one time where that didn't happen, and that was when Infernape got one-shotted. But you try surviving a Hydro Vortex, so fun. It really wasn't, but yeah. Lucario still remains one of my favourites, and its design remains to be one of the most amazing. If Sword and Shield brings out a fighting type which I see as better than Lucario, it needs to be a hell of a good one. But until then, Lucario remains to be my favourite, and probably will stay my favourite, because you can't get better than Lucario. Like, it being introduced in Gen 4, maybe just before Gen 4 actually. And Gen 5, Gen 6 and Gen 7 rolled along, and none have beaten Lucario or Infernape. No fighting types anyway. And Steel, bit of a spoiler here, but no Steel type has beaten Lucario. But until then, that's all for this time. If you liked what you heard, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe. Press that notification bell down in the corner below. I'll see you in a few... Well, I'll be recording again in a few minutes with Fire type. Not sure how long it will take for it to be uploaded after uploading the fighting type. Hopefully not that long. But until then, I'll see you next time.